understand that we have to learn the lessons of history, and the Munich Agreement, which was regarded as peace in our time back in 1938, early 1939, Neville Chamberlain came home to a rapturous reception. People thought he was a hero for guaranteeing peace, and then we all know what happened in September 1939. People don't seem to learn these lessons from history. We forget far too quickly, and you seem to be one of the people who are forgetting.
Won't go anywhere near England. If he does, we'll fight. Simple as that. But listen, we're heading for peace over there. And
well, you keep saying that. It doesn't make it true.
Well, look, since Trump's come in, and Vance has got a bit heavy with who he needs to get heavy with, we're talking about peace. Putin ain't going to go near England.
No, we're talking about capitulation. That's what we're talking about, capitulating to Putin, who invaded a sovereign country. Do we not have any morals anymore? Do we not have any courage to stand up to dictators who invade other countries?
Putin's very heavily supported by the Russians. I don't think you understand that yet.
No, I do understand that, but that's because of the propaganda that he puts out on his media every day. I'm not at all surprised by that.
Look, I think Vance is all right. Look, we're heading for peace, and he sees
what's the point of talking to somebody who just repeats the same thing over and over again? You're just coming out with propaganda that you don't seem to understand a word of.
It's not propaganda. It's reality. People are getting killed. We need to stop the death.
Yeah, that's what happens in wars. When you defend your country, people get killed. People sign up to armed forces knowing full well that part of the consequence is that they might be called upon to fight. And yes, they've also got conscripts as well. It's very unfortunate that anybody dies in war, but that, I'm afraid, is what happens when you defend your country against an aggressor.
Ian, can I just say finally, I've got an 11-year-old. When he's 12, I'm putting him in the parachute regiment cadets in White City. He speaks fluent Russian. I'd send my boy over there. Keir Starmer wouldn't send his kid over there. When in due course. That's the difference.
Well, you don't know that at all. I mean, I think Keir Starmer's been an absolute hero.
I would send my boy there. My boy's a gentleman. He speaks fluent Russian. But he's an Englishman.
Why does he speak fluent Russian, Mike?
Because his mother's Russian.
Right. Okay, well, that explains a lot. Mike, thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Jessica in Sheffield. Hello, Jessica.
Yes, hi there, Ian. I mean, I think it's so interesting, this conversation about J.D. Vance, because, he's the Vice President. He's in a sub-role right now to Elon Musk, as Elon shows him every time he's in the Oval Office. What's he going to do to regain his power? He's going to try and draw out a few kind of PC, potentially witty comments that he's really battling. It's a challenging role for him because it's not the norm, because nothing is the norm. I think with what happened in those few days with Trump, I think it's time for us to decide what we're going to do. He went over there, he played the game. But do we need to play the game that much with what he's actually doing? Are we going to stand by our principles? Are we going to back the right thing to do or the best thing to do? What a dilemma.
Well, what do you think is the right thing to do?
I think the right thing to do is to withdraw the offer of a state visit. How is that going to work? We've had Charles in his living room with the Ukrainian Prime Minister. How is he going to host Trump anytime soon?
Well, that's not the way it works. Monarchs have state visits. Do you not remember Nicolae Ceausescu, the Romanian dictator, coming on a state visit to Buckingham Palace and ended up nicking a lot of things from the palace? Look, the Queen and Prince and King Charles, in his reign, he will have to deal with a lot of people he'd rather not deal with. That is just the way it works.
What Keir promised, what he promised, and want to stand by it now and feel like he's doing the right thing, I don't know. I think he's going to get challenged by that, and he better come up with something better than he came up with to Trump.
All right, Jessica, thank you very much. Colin's in Manchester. Hello, Colin.
Hello. Yeah. I think this is a golden opportunity for not just for our country, but for all of the Western world to just collectively get together behind the scenes, all of the leaders of all the countries, and say, right, let's have a free trade deal between us all, and tell America to do one. America have caused more problems in the world since the Second World War than any other country in the world.
Well, I don't agree with that.
We need to
America has actually been...
We can agree to disagree.
But let's introduce a fact.
Where's the weapons? Where's the weapons of mass destruction? Where are the weapons of mass destruction?
What do you mean,
Where
nuclear weapons?
No. Let's go back to the fact that Blair took us into a war.
No, we're not going to go back. We're not going to go back to that because we have rehearsed all of that over the years plenty of times. We don't need to go back to that. But America, since the Second World War, has been the guarantor of Western European peace. That is a fact. It was America, together with Britain and one or two other countries, that effectively saw the end of the Soviet Union, the Soviet threat to Western Europe. If America hadn't been the guarantor of peace, who knows what might have happened? We might be speaking Russian by now.
Speak. You're going to let me speak?
Yeah, well, I have to get a word in with you, Colin.
You're doing it again. You're talking over me.
If you want to speak, speak.
Right, I'm speaking. So don't interrupt me then, please.
I'll interrupt you when I want to, Colin, because that's the way debate works.
Can I speak now?
Well, if you don't speak, I will cut you off.
Tell me. I'm trying to speak, but you keep interrupting me.
God's sake, man.
Right.
Speak or forever hold your peace.
Well, let me speak then. Right. Tell me where the special relationship is between the UK and America. It
was in a pretty bad place.
Churchill had to go cap in hand to the Americans. Okay, let me teach you a little bit of history. Churchill had to go back cap in hand to the Americans for money. Not just for money, for weapons. In the Second World War. Okay?
Yeah, and if he didn't do that, we all know what the consequences would be.
You've done it again, mate. When did we finish paying that debt to America?
About 2015.
Right, so, where's the special relationship? They didn't help us. It was all about money. Just like it was when Trump said, we've got oil, we've got gas, we need your soil. Sign the agreement and we are going to parasite your country. That's what he said. It's about time that everybody around the world, Western world anyway, turned around and said collectively, we've had enough of you, mate. We've had enough of America interfering. We've had enough. I didn't vote America to be the world's policeman, and neither did you, because we didn't get a vote.
Can I introduce another fact? Colin, I want to introduce another fact, because what you're talking about was a post-war loan from America to Britain to fund rebuilding. It wasn't the Lend-Lease war funds program. They're not the same thing. That's what you do. If you borrow money, you pay it off with interest, and that's what you finish doing.
Which is exactly what Trump and Vance and his cronies want to do. That what went on. I'll tell you. Right before that press conference, I said to friends and family, I said, listen, this isn't our problem. We haven't got the money to do anything, because our country is knackered. I'm more bothered about my grandchildren, what the future holds for my grandchildren.
It's knackered partly because of the attitudes of people like you.
Sorry?
It's partly knackered because of the attitudes of people like you.
Is it? Well, actually, I'm not a politician, mate, and I didn't sell our country's assets off. We don't have any assets. This country is 100%.
You see, again, you come out with absolute drivel. You come out with drivel. We have huge numbers of assets. We have huge numbers of gold reserves. No, you're not stating a fact. You're stating your opinion, which is based on absolutely nothing.
All right. So, tell me now, where we are now as a country. What assets do our
We're the sixth richest country in the world. That's where we are. We're the ninth biggest manufacturing country in the world.
riches.
Yes,
we
we
have
are.
the 6 richest people living in our country in the world. Not
No.
a country. The country is knackered because we don't have any assets,
No,
like France.
if it is knackered, it's because of people like you talking it down. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Colin, as you can imagine, but we do have to go to a news bulletin. It's 7:33. Amelia Cox has the news headlines.
Volodymyr Zelensky has described his meeting with Donald Trump last week as regrettable, but the Ukrainian president says he's ready to come to the negotiating table after the US suspended military aid to Kyiv. The US Vice President has denied insulting the UK after a backlash from politicians and ex-soldiers. JD Vance says he wasn't referring to Britain when he downplayed possible European peacekeeping troops. And a murder investigation has begun in South London after a 16-year-old boy was shot dead this afternoon. The air ambulance was called to a road near Stockwell Tube Station earlier, but paramedics couldn't save him. LBC weather, rain pushing further east across Scotland and Northern Ireland tonight. Dry for most of England and Wales, lows of -4 degrees.
This is LBC.
Meet Jamal.
Hey.
Jamal's just reversed into another car. And of all the people, it's his ex. How's he going to deal with this awkward situation? Thankfully, Jamal's got car insurance with Aviva. If you've had an accident, we'll talk to everyone else involved so you won't have to, Jamal. Helping you put the pieces together to get you back on track. It takes Aviva. Get a quote today at aviva.co.uk.
If you're self-employed and earn more than £50,000 per year, the way you do your income tax is going to change. Instead of everything happening at once, you'll need to split and spread
your admin throughout the year,
keeping digital records as you go. It'll make doing your tax work better for you.
tax built to work better. Search Making Tax Digital to find out more.
Ready to tackle winter head on? With a heated steering wheel and heated front seats? What about bold new colours? And would you like to lease it for only $269 a month with $269 initial rental? The Vauxhall Corsa, yes, will bring some colour to your driving life. Visit your local Vauxhall retailer or search Corsa now. Personal contract hire. New Corsa Yes 1.2 Turbo 100 PS T&Cs. 48 months. Subject to status and availability 18+. You will not own the car. Stellantis Financial Services.
Angela Rippon, what are you doing here?
I've come to tell you about using energy flexibly, Albert.
Flexibly?
Yes, smart meter owners could get rewarded for moving their energy use, like doing the laundry at off-peak times.
So I don't need to know the splits?
No, Albert. Nobody wants to see that.
Get rewarded for using energy flexibly, only with a smart meter. Search Get a Smart Meter today.
Eligibility and availability vary. Consumer action required. Reward schemes and tariffs available to selected customers from selected suppliers.
Ian Dale on LBC. Text 84850.
7:35 on LBC. Well, as you can imagine, Colin has certainly livened up the switchboard. We'll come to more of your calls in a moment on JD Vance's comments. But first of all, I'm delighted to welcome the Foreign Minister of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus to the studio, Tahsin Ertuğrul. No, I didn't get that quite right, did I?
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But it's great to have you with us. Now, you're in London. What's the purpose of your visit to London?
Trying to get across the Turkish Cypriot point of view vis-à-vis the Cyprus issue. It's a typical case of misinformation. It's a typical case of lack of information or wrong approach as to the essence of the problem. Everyone talks about settling the Cyprus problem. Yet, we have yet to agree on the definition of the problem. What is the definition
surely is that the island is split and you want it to be reunited?
No. The exact opposite. It was united between two co-founder partners at the establishment of the 1960 Republic. It was a functional federation. Turkish Cypriot co-founder partner, Greek Cypriot co-founder partner, as two political equals. A partnership that the Greek Cypriot side never wanted, never wished for, but they were forced to accept it. But they accepted it with the idea of dissolving it at the earliest possible time, which they did in 1963. The Republic of Cyprus survived for only 3 years.
Okay, but I mean, let's look to the future, because we can go the history to our heart's content, but there are talks taking place in Geneva later this month.
Right.
What do you want those talks to achieve?
Well, because each side has a different viewpoint as to how the problem should be settled. Each side has a different aspiration as to what the talks in Geneva will discuss on the 17th and 18th of March. The Greek Cypriot side is interested to use the talks as if it's a new attempt to pick up the negotiations from where we left off in Crown Montana in 2017. And the Turkish Cypriot point of view is no more negotiations for a federal settlement, because federation is out of the picture anymore. There is no common ground, and the UN Secretary General has openly said so. There is no common ground. And the reason why there is no common ground is the Greek Cypriots are treated as if they are the Republic of Cyprus, which they are not. And we are treated as if we are a mere community of that republic, which we are not. So the reality of the island is it's one island, but two states, two national peoples. But
isn't the lesson from history, the lessons from other national conflicts, if you can call it that, isn't the lesson that you have to go into talks actually with everything on the table, with no preconditions?
That's what we did for 60 years. That is why. For 60 years we negotiated with the Greek Cypriots under UN auspices for presumably the establishment of a federal partnership, a new partnership. And after 60 years, it was quite evident that this is a futile attempt. The Greek Cypriots are not interested in any new partnership with the Turkish Cypriots, because in their view, the island of Cyprus is a Hellenic island, and the Turkish Cypriots are not their equals. So, after having finished all attempts at the new partnership, the Turkish point of view on the Cyprus issue is, from now on, if there are going to be negotiations, those negotiations should be between the two states of Cyprus. No longer the Greek Cypriots, the state, and the Turkish Cypriots, a community. That is the reason why 60 years of negotiations failed. Okay. The status of the two sides must be leveled.
Now, Britain obviously has a big interest in Cyprus, historically, and indeed now. We have a base on Cyprus. Would you like to see that base leave?
No. Turkish Cypriot people have never had anything against the existence of sovereign British bases on the island of Cyprus. We never did, and we don't now, and we don't aspire to in the future either. That is an issue that the Greek Cypriots are using to make sure that the United Kingdom does not pursue policies against them. So the UK, in a sense, is a prisoner of its own sovereign bases on the island.
And has there been a change in Britain's policy towards Cyprus? Because obviously we've had a change of government. Have you noticed any difference in tone with the new government?
No. The British policy remains, unfortunately, that there is a legitimate Republic of Cyprus when there isn't. The British...
But you can't say there isn't, because it exists. Under international law, it exists.
Well, under international law, it shouldn't have been allowed to exist, because the Republic of Cyprus, the Republic of Cyprus was established with the main principle that the constitutionality of the Republic, the legitimacy of the Republic, was based on the continuation of the partnership, so that in case the partnership broke down, neither us nor the Greek Cypriots on our own would have the opportunity to claim to be the Republic of Cyprus on our own. And that's exactly what happened. As of 1963, the Greek Cypriots kicked out the Turkish Cypriot partner by force of arms, monopolized the whole state and governmental institutions, and turned the Turkish Cypriot co-founder partner into an ethnic secessionist, presumably minority on the island of Cyprus. This is not in line with international law. So no one can claim to us that the so-called Republic of Cyprus exists because of international law. It exists in spite of international law.
Can I ask you something which is not directly concerned with your country, but it is concerned with Turkey, because Turkey has indicated it's open to deploying troops in Ukraine as part of a potential peacekeeping force. Now, of course, there are British peacekeepers on the island of Cyprus under UN auspices. Is that something you think would be a good thing to do?
Well, that's up to the Turkish government, Turkish officials to decide. We are very lucky that there are Turkish troops on the island of Cyprus. They are a deterrent force. They are there to make sure that the Greek Cypriots don't do what they did years ago when there were no Turkish troops on the island. So the Treaty of Guarantee, which has made it possible for Turkey to send troops to the island, is there. Turkish troops are there. And that's the only reason why in that very critical geography, Eastern Mediterranean, when there are all sorts of troubles going on around us, we are quite happily and safely living in the TRNC thanks to the security provided by the Turkish arms.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Apologies it wasn't longer, but maybe we'll have another chance another day. But as you know, it's a very, very busy news day today.
Thank you very much.
Now that's Tahsin Ertuğrul, who is the Foreign Minister of the... Now I'm going to get this right, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, because I know there are huge sensitivities about what you call yourselves and what the Republic of Cyprus government think we should call you. And I would say, well, I'll call people what I want. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Right, let's go back to your calls on JD Vans. Catherine's in Birmingham. Hello, Catherine.
Hello. I'm just like to say, I think there's a lot of Trump and JD Vans bashing. I do think Zelensky was absolutely rude, because when Donald Trump said, we gave you a lot, he was like, no. Without America, they wouldn't succeed where they are. Apparently, I should like Trump because I'm black. I've got family in America, and when we visit America, everyone we asked who you were going to vote for said Trump. People of all colours.
That explains why he won, yeah. And I think in this country, a lot of people have great difficulty in understanding why and how Donald Trump won. But we've got to understand the psyche that led people to vote, not just for Trump, but also for JD Vance. What you said there about the meeting at the White House, I mean, they said he should have been more grateful. I posted a video on my Twitter feed today showing 94 occasions when Volodymyr Zelensky has said thank you, not only to the American government, but to the American people. Now, I agree with you. He could have played his cards better in that. It was not the best bit of diplomacy. But he was bullied, he was provoked by two people who should have known better.
No, I disagree. I think when Donald Trump was trying to talk to him and he said, we give you lots of weapons and Europe give you a few, he's like, no. And I think that offended him, and he kept going over 2014, 2016, when Donald Trump gave them weapons. Russia did not attack Ukraine, and he disagreed with him.
Well, Russia did attack Ukraine in
2014. Yeah, but not one Trump was in.
No, that is true. I'll give you that. I mean, that was under President Obama.
He disagreed with Donald Trump. If you watch it back, he disagreed when he said that.
I think part of the problem...
really offended him.
I mean, Catherine, I don't know if you speak another language, but if you speak, if you're conducting a meeting like that in a foreign language, his English isn't bad, but it's not brilliant, and I think he struggled with some of the language there, and I think that is a factor which people haven't really taken into account. Now, as I say, I think that he was badly briefed going into that. It should never have been done in front of the press, it has to be said, from either side. And I think they probably both, well, certainly Zelensky recognises that. There is still a school of thought that thinks the whole thing was a setup, and they deliberately tried to provoke him into doing something like that. We'll probably never know the answer to that, as whether that's a conspiracy theory or actually the truth. Catherine, thank you very much indeed. We'll take more of your calls in a moment. And coming up at 8 on Cross Question, let me get my list of guests for you, which I now can't... Oh, here it is. We have Josh Simons, the Labour MP for Makerfield, Lord Andrew Robertson, Conservative peer, former Defence Minister and former British Army officer, Jude Kelly, the theatre director and producer. She's the founder of the Women of the World Festival, and Robert Shroomsley, Chief UK Political Commentator and Executive Editor of the Financial Times. So there are a couple of spaces on the switchboard, 0345 6060 973, 7:47.
This is LBC. I'm Ian.
I'm Tessa.
And we are the hosts of Where Politics Meets History. It's about the interaction between politics and history. It's about having a bit of fun. So we talk about current news events, but try and relate them to things that happened in the past.
History just repeats itself. We go round and round in a circle. It's like constantly chasing your tail.
Where Politics Meets History.
With him.
I'm the politics bit, Ian Dale. And her.
I'm the history bit, Dr. Tessa Dunlop.
Global Player. Download it now for free.
Here comes Steve, with the satisfied smile of a man who's checking out at midday after a great night's sleep and a delicious unlimited brekkie. See the untamable bedhead hair, and if you look really close, you can see that properly well-rested glow, which can only mean one thing. Last night he slept at Premier Inn. Get better sleep for your money. Premier Inn. Rest easy. Breakfast subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
They say money never sleeps. But don't let your pension keep you up at night. Instead, combine your old pots and manage them easily with Wealthify. And you could earn between